Everyone, and welcome to another episode of Live Better. You might have noticed that little awkward moment there at the beginning, and that's because I realized that I had the wrong microphone set, and well, that could have been bad. Last thing I want to do is talk for 10 minutes and no one can hear me, like I did one of the very first times I actually ever went live. Ironically, my guest on that show was the husband of today's guest. So perhaps there's a Hemsath jinx that I'm not aware of. We'll find out. Maybe we'll ask some questions. That being said, I'm glad to have you here, guys, at our show brought to you by our friends at Wave.video. Of course, we want you to do all the things. That is, subscribe to our channels, like us, follow us, click the bell to get notified, or you can even go to Wave.video and sign up, and we'll notify you by email every time we go live, as well as when we have new updates to the Wave studio. That includes the editor as well as the live studio. And trust me, they're always updating it because they want to make it the best. They want to make it exactly what it is that you want. Now, typically every week I try to start off the show with just a little story. But this week, I want to share with you something that I'm just really excited about. And that is that next week is Social Media Week Lima, and Wave.video is a proud sponsor. Not only that, but I get to MC. I know. I don't know what happened. Someone lost a bet, but they're bringing me in. And our guest today, Theresa Hemsath, I believe she's going to be there with her husband, because I believe he is speaking. And trust me, if there's someone I've waited a long time to have the microphone before, it's Theresa's husband. That's just a little warning shot in case he's watching. Now, you might be wondering, okay, Chad, what is this Social Media Week Lima that you're going to be at and that Wave is going to be sponsoring? Well, I'm glad you asked.
Social Media Week Lima. I am so excited. Your message is bigger than your product. What are they connecting with about us as a brand? What is our message that they're aligning with?
Absolutely love it. I've walked away with so many great ideas.
By far, the best run event that I've been to.
That's the key. Focusing on the people that you've already won, that already love you, and just empower them to want to do more.
Events like this really give us the opportunity to come together, to meet, to make connections, to build relationships that we can take forward and use 365 days a year.
Oh, y'all, I hate boring. It is my goal in life to make sure that y'all leave here with a plan.
We can't tell stories that matter until we understand that consumer. We understand how they feel. We need to care about each other. We need to care about our consumers, and we need to show we care in everything that we do.
Hey, yeah.
You are worthy of the challenge of being an entrepreneur. You are worthy of making the world a better place.
What can I say? I'm so excited. Welcome to everyone who's joining us. By the way, J.S. Gilbert's I'm so glad to see you over on YouTube because I know it's you. I'm also curious about this story that Lima, Ohio is also known as Little Las Vegas. Gene, thanks for being here, and Vanita Adams as well. Always glad to see you guys here at the show. Now, our guest today is Theresa Hemsath. She is a YouTube pro. She's a teacher, not only of YouTube, but by trade. She's a teacher. It's what she does. She's a mom. She's a wife. She's a person of faith. She's a dear friend. And I'm super excited to have her today because we're going to be talking about discovering your message for the world. And this is something I personally have struggled with. I've gone back and forth. Is it the right message? Am I on the right track? What do I need to do? How do I get it out there? She's going to help answer those questions today. So if you have them, make sure that you're sharing them with us in the comments, and we want to bring your questions in as well as mine, because we're all here together, right, to learn together how to live better. And we're doing it, just as a reminder, using Wave.video. Before we bring in Theresa, we just want to give those of you who've never seen Wave.video just a quick little taste. All right, enough chit chat, enough promos, enough of all the other stuff. Without further ado, here's Theresa Hemsath. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. I love that intro. I felt so special.
Well, you are special, 100%, without a doubt. I've been looking forward to this. It's not often that just you and I get to talk, right?
Yeah.
You
And
do.
I learned a lot already. I learned that I've been mispronouncing Lima for my whole life. I have a Hispanic background. I was a ESL teacher for 13 years. I've been calling it Lima.
Yeah, Peru, Lima, Ohio, Lima.
That explains a lot of like the excitement that people have been having when I said I'm going to Lima next week. And people are like, oh my gosh, take pictures. And I'm like, it's just Ohio. It's like not that big of a deal, but
okay.
Now I understand. Oh my
yeah,
God.
they were going to be really disappointed by the pictures you brought back. That's hilarious. That happens every year with it. I actually lived up there in a small town nearby for a short time years ago. So I was familiar with it, but yeah, every year it ends up happening. People get it mixed up. So super
I feel bad for
crazy.
the person who booked the flight to Lima, Peru and ended up in Ohio.
Well, I mean, yeah, like it's colder than I thought it would be.
And I didn't need my passport. It was the weirdest thing.
Yeah, right. Everybody speaks English. And J.S. Gilbert says you must be Owen's daughter.
Oh, that's very sweet. I just dye my hair. That's all. I'm actually starting to let some of the grays start to come in. I've been highlighting a little bit to start embracing my age. I am 42 now, so I'm going to try to age gracefully. What can I say?
You're doing well, as is my wife. So I should give a little shout out today. Happy birthday to my lovely bride, Lainey. It is her 50th birthday.
Happy birthday, Lainey. Oh my gosh. That is some goals there for 50 to look like Lainey. Wow.
Yeah. I don't know that my goals are exactly to look like her at 50. But because it could be awkward.
Yeah, that would be awkward.
But yeah, no, she's definitely aged well. And when people find out that I'm younger, that I'm 48, of course, no one ever believes that at all.
So you and Owen share the same thing. You guys like the older women. That's great.
Right. There's so many things we have in common, he and I. I can't wait to see you guys in person. So listen, our message today, and I love when you suggested this topic about discovering your message to the world. But I also know that you've kind of gone on a journey of discovering that message. And I would go as far as to say that as I've known you, that there have been times in your life where the message has been different than what it is at certain times.
Sure.
Correct?
Yes. The message shifts and evolves as you evolve, doesn't it?
Absolutely. But before we get into that, because I know that now you're doing that and you've got a show and you've got the teaching and you've got another show and different things that you're doing. But I want to start at the beginning of the journey, and I want to talk about before YouTube.
Okay.
Not for Owen, but for you. When he was doing all of his stuff, before you came on and the two of you tag team and attack this in legendary fashion. can you just kind of fill everybody in on how you got there?
Well, I've always loved communication. And we always have there's always different mediums of communication that are out there. So I've always been a writer and a teacher of writing. So I was a teacher for 13 years. I taught English language development, or what a lot of us know as ESL, for 13 years. And then I taught and it was all in the high school setting. And then I also taught regular, language arts, English composition, literature types of classes. So that included, like a 12th grade composition, 11th grade American Lit, those types of things. I loved it. It was such a wonderful time. For me, the human experience, the story of our lives, the messaging, nonfiction, fiction, you name it, any of that has always it's been a huge part of my journey. And I wanted to teach our youth to appreciate it and to use it to communicate themselves, as well as to read and to be able to glean from others, because we have so much wisdom in this world that we can experience through that. So my foundation came with that. As I was teaching, and my own passion, because I love writing, I also had a couple of different blogs that I had maintained. One that started off as a mommy blog and then kind of evolved into this entrepreneurial wife type of thing, where I was writing really a lot about just the experience of, I called it wifery and work, and just that combination as a working mom and so forth. And then, in my own journey, I started having some health issues with my gut, my belly, just always having belly aches, and started developing like autoimmune types of symptoms and so forth. And then in that journey, I really came to learn about gut health, started becoming super passionate about it. I've always had a passion for science. I actually was almost a PA. I minored in neuropsychopharmacology and was like this close to actually moving into that career. So I started another blog, and that's called Mama Guts. And that's really a blog all about, health, gut health and so forth. And then I've written some children's books. Only one has been published so far. I've got 4 that are still sitting in my Dropbox, waiting for one day for me to illustrate it, or actually find an illustrator to illustrate it. But I did write a children's book, and it's a faith-based children's book as well, on a need. And that's going to go back to what we're talking about today, about messaging, a need that I saw that wasn't there. And I knew that message needed to get out. And so I published it, and I've had, so many people have come to me saying that this book not only helped their kids, but helped themselves, even though it's a children's book. So it's been a really great journey. And then, 2017 came around, and we'd always planned on me coming back home, is what we called it. We had our ideas of what that would look like. It was pretty much like, Owen's going to become this millionaire, and then I won't need to work anymore. And then I'll come home. And then that's it. That's not how it worked, right? It was a completely different story. One that was filled on a lot of faith, and drive and excitement. But I came home in 2017, and I joined Owen in the Wave.video or video spot business. And it's been 5 years now. And I love it, and I'm still here, and the business has grown. We're reaching more people. We're really helping more people. I've helped him fine tune his creativity. Many of you guys who are listening might be just naturally creative people, and that's awesome. But one of the downfalls that can sometimes happen with visionary creatives is that you can get so distracted by all of your passions that sometimes you need someone else to kind of come in and go, okay, how can we zone you into an area and really build that out and make that really good, versus jump into all of your passions. Don't get me wrong, he still has so many passions, but we've really been able to grow this business and make it better by really fine-tuning what we're doing.
So who brought in the fine-tuning? So would you say you helped fine-tune him, or did he help fine-tune you?
I would say it's a combination of a few things. He's the creative genius, no doubt, behind the business. With me bringing in and saying, okay, you need to be charging more. Okay, you're spreading yourself out too thin. You're taking these private. He was doing these one-on-one consults all week long. It was just so much. It was like, how can we make this so that you can serve more people in less time and make as much, as big of an impact or even more, so you have more time for us. We're over here, wife and kids, going out with us, so how do you scale that, right? So I started putting these bugs in his ears, and I didn't know a lot of the answers. I have a teaching experience, so I naturally gravitated toward, why not get a group together, that you can teach and pour into, and you can have them doing things and making a big difference. So I already kind of had that in mind, and I know how to write curriculum. So I know that led into building out the curriculum for our programs. But then it took some coaches. We hired a couple of mentors to help us, who've already done things like this, to help us with the business side aspect that I still needed to learn myself. Coming from an employee type of background,
Sure.
I really had to learn the entrepreneurial mindset. So we were both on a journey, and what he was learning was different than what I was learning. But together, I think we've come up with something pretty amazing, and it's changing lives, and that's really exciting.
No, I agree. I've loved watching it, and of course, we've been friends. I can't believe it, that it's been 2017 since that change has been made. And this year in San Diego, I missed our annual kind of dinner that we always do with you guys. So that's all right.
We'll make it up in Lima. Oops, Lima.
I'll be there. Unfortunately, it's recital season, so Lainey won't. All right, so let's kind of go into this then. The journey that other people go through, or that you kind of maybe you can guide people on how to start finding their actual message for the world. I do like what J.S. Gilbert had said here, that he thinks this journey of exploring your personal message or your why starts with service. And I agree with that. I don't know if that's like black and white or whatever, but I think that's a great statement there.
I would agree. I mean, with a message, there has to be a receiver of that message. And that message is not going to resonate unless you care about that receiver. So service, I think, is essential, right? If you don't really care to serve your audience and really meet them where they're, and really care about who they are and where they're going, where they've been, then your message is not going to resonate. It's just not. It's going to come off selfish. It's going to come off, it's all about me, and no one's going to want to watch it. So yeah, I 100% agreed.
What would you say would be the difference between making the message the center versus the receiver the center?
It's about really thinking about who your audience is. Really, the message isn't going to resonate unless you start with the receiver, right? You have to start with the audience and then work your way backward. So really thinking about, who are they? What do they struggle with? What are they good at? What do they want? What do they laugh at? What makes them laugh? What entertains them? Like all of that aspect, really looking as much as you can. Now, obviously, we're all going to have slight differences in ourselves as individuals, but there's often commonalities with this type of person that you're really wanting to seek. Start with that, and then you can start coming up with a message that's going to resonate with those areas. And you obviously have to look at your own passion, right? And you have to think about, okay, what am I passionate about that can reach this particular audience that I'm thinking about? And then the message is that in-between part, right? Your passion, your expertise, and then always considering those 4 or 5 areas of your audience's life and what's important to them, and making sure that your message is hitting one of those areas, right? Maybe even a couple would be good too. Otherwise, if you don't think about them and you're only thinking about the message, you're wandering. It's like deciding to get on a road and going, okay, I'm going to go somewhere, but you don't really know where you're going. And so you're just kind of wandering. You're going down here, you're going down over there. It might be fun for you. That's great. It'll be fun for you. And you might hit a couple of people along the way, but you're really not going to get to your goal of where you want to go if you don't have a destination. And that destination is in the hearts and minds and lives of your audience.
No, absolutely. Now, what about, obviously creators and people who have these shows or YouTube channels, and you're delivering these messages, and you start with this, I want to serve and I want to, give this to these people. But it's also like my livelihood, and I also want to make a career out of it. So how do you not blur or mess up that line of service and I also have to feed my family?
Yeah. I think a couple of things. One is going to be managing your time, obviously, but also thinking of a next step for your audience. So how can you make money from this? How can you create a product or a service that would really meet the needs of that same audience you're reaching through your content. And then always having that as a next step after your content. So your content is really to attract them. Your content is to build that trust with them. Wow, this person really knows what they're talking about. They're knowledgeable. They understand me, right? I think that they can actually help me, right? And they can entertain me. Like I can hang out with them. Think of it. I mean, it's like friends, right? Like you're not going to hang out with somebody. Your friends aren't going to be people that bore you. You choose your friends with those you enjoy being around. You actually have fun with them in some way, whatever that works for you, right? So really being able, this is your opportunity to hit them on all of those areas that you really are building a relationship with them. Obviously, it's not necessarily in person, but we can do a lot with video. And that's what's so amazing with it, and why I've come to love it, and why my husband obviously has come to love it, is because of that relationship that you really can build with your audience in those areas. So that's what the point of your content is. But then think, okay, where is your zone of genius where you can really help them? And this is going to be something more than what you can do to a whole audience without actually really listening to their needs, right? And strategizing with them, or whatever it is, whether, again, a product or service and so forth, that you can help them with. So coming up with some sort of next step and then offering that next step to them. Now, if you're somebody who is just starting out and you're just starting to create a next step, one of the biggest breakthroughs for us is first actually creating a next step that's either free or really, really low cost at first. Getting a number of people to sign up, pouring your heart and soul into them, right? Obviously, you're going to have to work out your time, especially if you have a day job or family and things like that, but really giving them an incredible experience for a certain amount of time, whatever that is, and then getting those testimonials from them. Tons of testimonials, so that then you've learned from the experience with them. You've gotten feedback from them along the way. You know how to improve that service based on what you did with that initial kind of pilot. And then you can make it better. And now you can charge for it. And you have a whole lot of testimonials to actually put on your landing pages and in your videos that you can talk about. You can interview people that you've helped and so forth. And now you actually have, that word of mouth, that testimonial proof that next step is actually worth their time, right? And then now you can start actually bringing more people that's from your audience into your programs.
Wow. Hey, boy, you can tell you've been doing this for a minute. I want to bring in some of the comments here from the audience. J.S. Gilbert, I don't think these are actually questions. I think he was just pointing out ways that he goes through his thought process. What are the pain points? How are they not being addressed well by others in the marketplace? And how can, and I like this, how can my true self do a better job of addressing those pain points? Can you speak to that? I know you can from experience and things going on. The difference between sharing a message where you're putting on a persona versus putting on and sharing a message as who you really are.
Sure. Well, I would say a true, authentic message that can really change lives is going to come, and probably it's come out of your own pain you've experienced in life. So I think the pains that we've had in our lives, trials that we've had in our lives that we've overcome, those are opportunities. If we really care about those and we really don't want others to experience that, or we would love to see others pull out of those same problems that we've had, those are opportunities for your message, and you can speak out of that. So I think authenticity requires some transparency. But I also know that there's an art in how transparent you want to be. You don't need to always go into the nitty gritty details. Like, for example, like if I watch a movie, I like a good movie. I like a good thriller. I like something that really, has got a lot of action in it, but I don't need to see the bloody, gory murder, right? I just knowing that there was a murder, maybe a little shadow scene is good enough for me. I don't need to get into those details for me to enjoy a good film. So, you can do the same thing, right? Is really think about, what have you overcome in life? How did you do it? And if you really care about other people who have gone through that and you want to help them, there's a message right there. You could build a whole platform around that whole thing. and share your experience, share your stories, share how you overcame, all the tools, all the techniques, all the strategies, all the mentors, everything that you did to help other people along the way. That would be one incredible way for you to be able to speak out of your authentic self. And I think people really want it. I mean, think about where we've been with technology over the last 10 years. The pendulum has swung, and we are tired of overly produced, social imagery and, fakery and automations. We're craving relationship more than ever, especially after, the pandemic, and we've been divided so much. We're craving relationship. We're craving authenticity and reality. As a matter of fact, we're actually seeing a trend in YouTube specifically. I just came back from an event a couple of weeks back. We were invited to a conference for some of the biggest YouTubers out there. And we were blessed because we're consultants and we're, to be able to be out there and hear from them. I mean, we're talking about people with million plus channels. And the big focal point that everybody was talking about is that their more authentic, less produced content is actually doing better now than their former 2016, 2017 higher produced content. Wow. People want real. They want real.
Well, yeah, no, I agree. Absolutely. 100%. We're tired of the fake stuff out there. I'm going to try to get to these questions here. Obviously we've struck a nerve, or we've hit a pain point today, because we've got more questions coming in from people today than we do when we talk about tech, or things like that. People are really wanting to nail this down. By the way, guys, Karina, our super rock star social media guru over at Wave, brought up a great question, and that is, share with us, if you already know it, what your message to the world is. We'd love to hear that in the comments from you, if you have
yeah, well, I'm not going to type it in. I can say it. And it really, I have got a few different messages.
Oh, we're going to get to yours. But we want the people who are watching to share theirs in the comments.
I understand.
We're going to get to yours. And I'm not going to let you get away without.
Message in the comments. Yeah, I want to see those messages too.
But speaking of getting to yours, we're going to kind of switch gears here, though, because I believe that we could say that more than one message. And my friend Greg here is asking, how do you fine tune or decide which audience to serve first when you serve multiple disciplines, which I know he does?
Yeah. Well, I would definitely say the one that the one that could fund the other messages. Start with the one that can fund the other messages. Okay. So whichever one you have a clear next step that you could offer, that you can monetize in some way, start with that one first. Then you get all the funding, from everybody, buying your programs and your products or whatever it is that you're doing. And then you use that money to now reinvest into some of your other messages that you have. But I would want to make sure to say, because I see a lot of people do this and they make this mistake, is they use one channel or one show to share all of their messages. And they're like, well, this is just, it's all about, this, and there's this because I like this and I like this. Well, guess what? Now it's the me show. Now you're making it all about you, and you're not going to resonate with your audience that way. So really thinking, again, going back to that audience part is, if we're talking about a show here using Wave or something like that, like cater each show to a particular audience. And then if you're doing this on YouTube, if the audiences are strikingly different, there's not that common thread in them, then you'd want to have a different channel for each one. So that can spread yourself pretty thin. If you start juggling 4 or 5 channels, oftentimes we also find that they're not going to all do as well either. So if you're really wanting to build a big audience and really make something work, I would start with the one that you're most passionate about, or the one that you can get some funds to fund the others, and focus on that. And I wouldn't do after you start getting the other ones, and you start having these other messages, other channels, other shows that you build out, just making sure that you've got the bandwidth and the time to be able to do it and do them well, right? Otherwise you're just going to get burnt out.
I completely agree with that. It's so easy to get burned out, especially somebody here mentioned, and this is a great way to get burned out. Billy says, I've done 250 live streams and over 150 interviews and only managed to get 5 people to sign up. It's a bit frustrating. It's hard to get people off Facebook onto my site. Now, I know where you're going to go with this, but go for it.
If it's hard to get people off Facebook and onto your site, then stop broadcasting on Facebook. That's the answer. Yep. Got to just stay focused on the platform that you want to grow. And I'm assuming it's probably YouTube. And focus there. And then you can wean if you need to. You can wean them. Maybe start with a couple and then let them know, hey, I'm moving 100% to YouTube. So if you want to be there, go there. You can promote still on Facebook, but it's not going to be not necessarily just streaming there. So, even putting up a thumbnail, that's it. And, the topic, and say, hey, today I'm going to be talking about X, Y, and Z. Would love to see you there. I'm going to put the link in the comments in a little while. I wouldn't do it right away because Facebook will throttle your post. So I just want to let you know, like, it's typically wait till the bots have already analyzed your stuff, and then you can put the link in. So give it some time a little bit. I also find that with YouTube specifically, the algorithm works even better if you let YouTube figure out your audience. If you're from the very beginning trying to promote and get people from other platforms over to your channel right away, like as soon as that video comes out, it really just confuses the algorithm. The algorithm doesn't have an opportunity to really figure out your audience because all these people are coming in from the side. So it's actually even better if you just be patient, let YouTube figure out your audience, and actually promote that video that you made to your other platforms like 2 weeks later. 2 weeks. And I know some of us are like, oh, 2 weeks, but I want this, I want that. You are going to help your content get out there so much more. You have to be patient, but it will work. The audience, YouTube will start figuring out who's liking your stuff, and then it'll start presenting it more and more and more. Obviously, as long as you're catering to your audience, right? The audience that you're wanting to find you on YouTube, on Google, so that you can break out of your network and really make an impact.
It's a great little comment here. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this for Karina. She says, I got you. But shows are most often aimed at building long-term communications with people.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, that's what relationship is, right? And I mean, we have, like, for example, our channel probably brings in, I would say 60 to 70% of our business. Okay. So those are leads that come to us. They find our channel, they watch our videos, and they go, oh my gosh, I geeked out on like 4 or 5 of your videos on this topic, and I realized I just had to call you, or I had to book an appointment with you, or whatever it is that they say, right? It depends on how they came in. But guess what? The ones who are our clients, they're still watching our channel content because it's about them. It's still helpful for them, right? So yeah, it's about building long-term relationships with your followers who will never buy from you, but they'll share your content and they'll praise your name. And that there's your social proof. It's going to build audience with those leads who are really ready to take it seriously and buy your products and services and become your clients. It's going to build relationships with those who would never buy from you because they're not really in need of your service, but they love what you do. They see that you're a thought leader, and they're thought leaders too. And now they want you to get interviewed on their shows. They want to possibly do a summit with you. They want to maybe be an affiliate. They want to possibly feature you in their magazine. They're the news and have reached out, and now they want to have you interview on their news show because they found you and you really seem to be an expert on this topic that they're really wanting to. There's a segment that they want to do on the news for it. The opportunities are endless, right? Mm-hmm. So yes, 100%. And that is how you grow a really big impact, because you don't just end the relationship once they become a client or once they've done what you want them to do. You care about them, and they're going to share it with other people because there's way more out there that still don't even know about your message. And it's going to be through your followers that this is going to actually really grow, right? The algorithm, sure. The followers as well. Relationships and algorithms together, I think, are really, really powerful.
No, I agree. In fact, in some instances, as Facebook for sure, the algorithm sometimes actually controls who your current best friends are. So
it's true,
because it shows you. By the way, we want to make sure we put this up there. We want people to check out the Brave Talk Show on YouTube. And as we go to that, as well as I know other messages that are going on in your world, let's talk about What is your message right now to the world, Theresa?
Well, our business message, the one that that we've monetized in a sense, right, is that, coaches, consultants, agents, people out there that have a product or service, you're an industry expert, right? You can make an impact. You can break out of your network. You can scale your influence. You can scale your revenue. You can scale your opportunities with powerful, engaging, organic YouTube content. You just have to have that right strategy, and you can bring in like 5 to 6 figures of income just with YouTube relatively quickly and without a very large following if done right. So that's what our whole business is about. That's what we teach. That's who we help. And that's the one that is able to fund all the other side passion projects that we do. So, we do have a couple of other side passion projects as well that are really near and dear to our hearts based on what we're going through right now and out of pain points that we've experienced, right? So one of our other messages that we have that's not monetized, it's purely just passion and love because we're still in our journey as well. And that is that if you have a loved one or you yourself are struggling with cancer, you do not have to poison yourself with chemotherapy and radiation only to get your cancer back in 5 years. You can actually kill the cancer at its root through what's called metabolic therapy and actually get to that root cause and heal yourself, right? We're flipping the script on stage 4 cancer. It's no longer a death sentence, and you can do it without those drugs and giving money to the pharmaceutical companies. So that's our journey. For those of you who don't know, my husband has Wave.video, who's, is the genius behind our company and a pioneer in the YouTube industry, has stage 4 cancer again. And with first time we did it with traditional medicine that destroyed him. And the cancer came back. And the second time around, those conventional doctors told my husband that there is nothing that they can do. And at first we believed them. And that was a really hard time. But then we opened our eyes, pulled that dark curtain over our head and saw some light and said, you know what? We're going to figure out another way. We're going to look at the 1%. They told 1%, right? Well, I'm going to look at the 1% and find out what they did. And that's what we did. We started researching and we discovered, guess what? There's a whole other world of cancer therapy out there that the FDA doesn't want you to know about. So if you want to talk to me about it, we can certainly talk about it. We started a channel because of course that's what we do, right? We're video lovers and we want to make an impact out there. We started a channel sharing our journey. You can find that by going to beatcancerwithme.com and you will find my husband, him sharing his experience as a cancer fighter, me sharing my experience as his caretaker. But honestly, I'm not really a caretaker anymore. Like I started off as, but he's shrunk his tumors. Like he's surprising the doctors. The doctors are going, we don't know how you did it. And it's like, yeah, you don't want to know how we did it. Right.
Right.
And so now I've had to do less and less of that caretaking. And now I'm really more of his cheerleader is really what I am. But I share my experience on there for other people out there who have a loved one that they want to support through this journey as much as they can. And how to be able to do that successfully, right? So that's all free content. There is no monetization. We do have a vegan keto guide that we do give for free. There is an email opt-in for that. And the reason why we're doing that, guys, honestly, like let's talk about this, right? Like why are we doing these messages? How can we make it bigger? Is right. Because if we can actually destroy this cancer 100%. And if we can start actually getting testimonials from people who are going, oh my gosh, I did what you said and my cancer is gone. My husband and I have developed such a passion for this. I've actually enrolled in a 2-year holistic nutritional program to get certified as a holistic nutritionist. And I'm going to specialize in cancer nutrition. So we might actually build out a whole other coaching business eventually where we actually, consult people who are, entrepreneurs and so forth who don't want to do chemo. They don't want to do the traditional route. They want to go natural. They want to kill it at its core. And we wouldn't be their doctors. We would be their patient advocates and help them get connected with the right doctors, the right people in place, right? And we would consult them on their nutrition and so forth to actually heal. So that's a potential future business. And so this channel right now is just building up that credibility, that social, sharing our journey, connecting with our audience. We're getting their email. And that way, eventually, if we decide to launch a program, we have a number of people that have already shown us, we want to know more from you. And we can email them and let them know, hey, we're starting out this program and we'd love for you to be a part of it. Right.
Love it. Love it. And those of you who don't know, her husband, Owen, is actually one of my best friends. So it's obviously a message and a story that's dear to my heart. You may not know this, but when we were in Dallas, as this phase of this was kind of in its infancy, the second time around, it was the last night. He said, hey, you want to pick me up and take me to the airport tomorrow? Of course, I'm thinking, of course, because to be honest, I didn't know, right? I didn't know, was this going to be the last time, I see him? I don't know where things are going. And he said, cool, I need to leave at 5 a.m. And I was like, man, do I really like him that much? But I did. I picked him up at 5, and I remember dropping him off at the airport, and I got out of the car and gave him just the biggest hug. And then I sat in the car for a while and just I couldn't even drive for a little bit. So watching things happen the way they're happening, it's just been incredible. And then, of course, you have another channel that we've brought up there, and I know we're starting to run out of time here a little bit, but I just wanted you to be able to just kind of touch a little bit on that, because that's kind of your message that you do.
Sure. Well, it started. I'm a co-host on a talk show called The Brave Talk Show. We launched it about a year ago. I was approached. One of my husband's dear friends is part of the Harmon Brothers. If any of you guys know marketing, they're part of the Harmon Brothers marketing team. They've done a lot of just incredible content out there, the Squatty Potty and the Purple Mattress and so forth. And anyway, one of the team members in that marketing company's wife decided that she wanted to start a talk show. And so she had a couple of ladies, but she really had she needed me. Right. She needed a few of the ladies on there are LDS. She wanted somebody that wasn't LDS because she didn't want it to be an LDS show. The 2 white girls, 1 black girl. She's like, I need somebody that's got some Hispanic blood in her. So I fit all of the parts. Right. So she approached me. She told me, listen, I want to create a show that's for women. We're so divided online. Everyone's divided. No one knows how to have conversations anymore without fighting and disrespect and so forth. I want to be able to have a show where we can talk about real things and actually have a brave conversation and actually better understand each other. Mm-hmm. We may not come to any conclusions. We might, but let's just talk. Let's just talk about real things. So we called it the Brave Talk Show. I joined it. It's been there. We've been doing it for about a year. Talk shows are a little different. They're longer, they're multi-segments. So the YouTube algorithm doesn't necessarily like talk shows very much. It's kind of hard to place. So it's a slower growth, but we did get monetized within 9 months of launching the channel, which is exciting. And we're growing an audience, and these women need it. They need this message. And it's such an opportunity to really talk about all things. We talk about everything. All the girl talk, ladies who are watching this, all the girl talk that you want to talk about, but you don't have time to talk about it anymore because you're stuck with work and this and that, and you just want to be able to sit down and talk about all of it. This is a show for you.
I love it. I love it. Theresa, this has been such a pleasure for me to have you here and to talk about these things. So, folks, hopefully, as you're going back through, you may need to go back through the replay. I know we kind of spent the last part of this talking about Theresa and Owen's messages that they're sharing, but in the beginning we talked about how they got there, and they focused on serving others with a message that they felt they had that would benefit others. And then when they built up the credibility, they were able to monetize it as their channel and the social proof, and their following grew. But they started and found their message by doing what they knew they were made to do, right?
Yes.
And sometimes I know that can be hard, like to really know, okay, is this really my message? Well, just the last question, and then we're going to do something fun, right? Because we've been so serious. But how would you tell somebody this is how you'll know you found your message? How do you know?
I would look at a couple of things. I would look and think, if you had nothing to do today, absolutely nothing to do today, and you could do whatever you wanted, what would you be doing? What would you be reading about? What would you be writing about? Where would you go? What would you be watching? Those types of things, just all of it. Really look at that. Really look at what brings your heart joy, what gives you rest from the stresses of life, what gives you life. When I say life is what energizes you, there's two things: what gives us rest and what gives us life, right? What de-stresses you and what energizes you. Those two things are probably a what I would call your core passion, right? And then also look at what you've overcome. And when you talk with people, when people reach out to you based on just what you've already done naturally through conversations and relationships you've had in your life, if you have something that people often reach out to you for, they want to talk to you about, and you enjoy those conversations, you enjoy helping them in some way and sharing your insight with them in some way. And that happens. And there's a trend there. Those are two really big areas to look at. Like, you've got a passion for that. You've come off, you've made a difference in people's lives. You've somehow communicated that you know a lot about this. People come to you for advice in those areas. And then maybe if there's even a tie, which would be even more awesome, between that, if there's a relationship between that and also what gives you rest and what gives you life in some way, shape, or form, you can find something there. I think you have something really amazing, right? Because you have something that you can create out of your own passion. That's going to help you through the dry spells, especially during the beginning when there's no money, right, involved in it. That's going to keep you going to keep making that content, right? It's also going to resonate with your audience because it's already proven to resonate. You've already had people reach out to you asking you questions about this or that, right? So you already know that it can resonate. And then if you can create an offer or a service that can take them to a next step that will really make that big difference and transform their lives, you have a sweet spot. Passion, audience, revenue. This is something that you can build your whole life on, and you'll enjoy doing it. It won't be like you're feeling like an employee to your business, right?
Right.
You will enjoy you actually building your business around your life, around what gives you joy. That's an amazing sweet spot to find.
Absolutely love it. And guys, nobody is better at this than the Hemsaths. So we've got all the links to all their places. If you want to grow your business, if you want to help find your message and grow your YouTube channel and take it and do with it all the things that you want to do with it, they know how, and they know how to teach you and coach you and get you there. Trust me, I've seen the results day in and day out. There's constantly people that they're dealing with. That being said, you mentioned talking about this or that, and that actually happens to be the name of the next thing we're going to do here as we kind of come to the end of the show. By the way, awesome, fun things. Matt Haas, joy for him, making YouTube videos, playing piano, riding roller coasters, just to name a few, and tacos. I would love to see you with a mini keyboard, eating a taco on a roller coaster. Make it happen, Matt. Okay.
That would be awesome. And I would follow a channel that talk nothing about tacos, because to me, that's like one of the main food groups. And I'm letting you know right now, if you had a channel where you showed me how to make this kind of taco and that kind of taco and this kind of taco, and you went to taco restaurants and you ate tacos at different restaurants and compared them, I would love that. So just putting it out there.
Yeah. I maybe I'll get Lainey on that, because she's just like, doesn't matter what she makes. It's good, including all kinds of tacos. All right, let's do some. All right, this is just kind of how we unwind before the show ends. It's very simple. We're just going to give you a couple choices, Theresa, and we want everyone here to play along because we want to know what your feelings are as well. We're going to give you two choices. You just have to pick one that resonates the most with you. I might ask a follow-up question because sometimes there's a fun story. Fair enough? Okay, here we go. First one, Scooby-Doo or Tom and Jerry?
Tom and Jerry, every day.
Tom and Jerry. Interesting. I still haven't been able to really, usually it's like that instinct, that answer. I think I have to go Scooby-Doo.
Really? It's that mystery. You like the unsolved or the solvable mystery at the end, huh? Maybe the formula.
I don't know. I just like the hijinks. I think of Scooby and Shaggy. I think is really, I relate to that probably way too much.
Child of the 70s.
Yeah, well, yeah, there you go. And Tom and Jerry was great. The fact that they were able to make as many as they did with no talking was absolutely
That's
incredible.
what I think is the genius. I loved all of those no talking cartoons growing up.
Wow. Take note, Owen. Take note. All right. Up next, Alaska or Hawaii?
Hawaii all day.
All day.
Otra vez. Yes.
Alaska.
Man, you and I are like just opposites.
Oh, I love the mountains. I would love to be in the streams and just that's, you can keep the beach.
Well, I'm from San Diego beach, and I moved to Utah mountains.
Right.
And I don't get me wrong, I love the mountains, and I would love to visit Alaska. But these winters are cold. And if these winters are cold, Alaska winters are even colder. And I've got family from Alaska, and they say that winters are cold. Now, they say the summers are incredible. As a matter of fact, my sister-in-law grew up in Alaska. She just moved to Arizona. She's keeping her house in Alaska, but they've decided they're going to live in Arizona all year long and then go back to their house in Alaska for the summer. So they're going to enjoy the summers in Alaska, and then that's it. They're out of there.
Sounds like Karina. She said the same thing. Alaska for the hot days, Hawaii for cold. Also, interesting tidbit. Those of you who don't know, J.S. Gilbert, who's a big fan of the show and a big supporter, super grateful for him, is a voice actor. Really well known for some video game stuff, but he's also a licensed voice for Shaggy, so he's a little biased.
What? How coincidental is that? That's amazing.
So, and Matt wants to drink Hawaiian coffee. Yes. I don't even think you have to be in Hawaii to do that. So, all right, here we go. Piercings or tattoos?
Oh, gosh. I'm gonna go with tattoos. I've got both, guys, and if you can't really see on here, but I've got a nose hoop that I've had for 20-something years, and I've got a full sleeve. So it's a tough one, but I'm going to say tattoos overall, only because I don't like a lot of the new piercings that are out. Some of them are freakish. So
I was curious when I put that one. I was like, this could, yeah. I think I don't have either. I think if I were, I would go with the tattoo route for sure. And Karina's with me on the tattoos. So, J.S. Gilbert piercings. Well, I'm not even going to go down that road with you, JS. All right. Music, 50s or 80s?
80s. Of course. 80s. I actually had, I love the Amazon Music 80s hits playlist. So good. Get some My Journey in. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'd have to go with you on that. I'm definitely an 80s kid. So that's my...
So we're kind of exactly. The 50s are fun, but I can only listen to so much before I'm like, okay, turn this off.
Now, I will say this. I grew up with both because I listened to the 80s, but whenever Mom took us wherever we were going, we had the oldies station on, which now I guess our stuff is the
Isn't
oldies.
That the saddest thing ever? When your 90s alternative rock comes on the classic rock radio station? Wow, it's hard. Or even better, when you're walking around the grocery store and your favorite song comes on.
And it's an elevator instrumental version. Like,
oh gosh,
is that Pour Some Sugar on Me? But like, it sounds like an orchestra. That's weird.
But you're catching yourself dancing to it as you're pushing that grocery cart down the down the aisle.
You're like, dun, 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 dun. It's not how it's
being
played.
To the grocery store now.
Text or call?
Always text, and if you're gonna call, please text first. Okay.
I agree. I'm gonna be surprised if anybody disagrees with that one. All right, last one. Would you rather be constantly itchy or sticky?
Oh gosh, man, that's horrible. That's like, do you want to burn in a fire or drown? Like, I guess sticky. Not itchy. No way. Like, there's no way. So therefore, it has to be sticky.
I think so too. I think sticky. It might just. I feel like I could get used to sticky.
Yeah.
I just don't know that you could get used to itchy.
No,
because if you get used to itchy and you don't actually feel it, are you still itchy?
Exactly.
Right.
It's gone.
So
it's not itchy anymore. But sticky will be there. The sticky will be there, but you can always just tune it out. And I put hair product in my hair. I lotion up, so in a sense, I'm kind of already experienced some stickiness from products that I've had to get used to. So, kind of
fair enough.
And I got kids, and there's jelly. Like jelly just gets everywhere when you have kids. So
J.S. Gilbert's choice was drown.
So, I would agree. I would say the same thing.
Oh my goodness, that's hilarious. All right. Last thing, just to wrap up, it's our way of saying thank you. A lot of people have like an elevator pitch or that short 60-second little, this is what we do. So we don't have an elevator here at Wave because, well, there's not elevators in the ocean, but there are submarines, and those go up and down. So we have the Wave pitch that happens in a submarine. We call it the submarine pitch. So in a minute here, I'm going to put you in a submarine, and you will notice that we will start to descend. As soon as we start to descend, it's your time to say whatever you want. You can pitch your business. You can talk about what you're going to do later today. It's your time. It's about 60 seconds, and you have all the way until we come back up to the top. So don't stop at the bottom. Wait until we come back up to the surface. Okay?
All right.
All righty. So let's get this. Okay. So here you go. Just so you don't feel uncomfortable, I'll be quiet, but I will be right here in case there's an emergency or anything happens. All right. So we're about to go under, and it will be your time to start. We'll go ahead and start you now.
All right. Well, if those of you guys who are listening know your message, you found your sweet spot, and you already either have a channel or a show, or you want to launch one, but you want the right strategy so that it actually really makes that impact, and you really are able to maximize your reach to be able to scale your influence, your revenue, and the opportunities in your life with this passion topic of yours. You can do it with the right strategy. And you can actually fund your entire life with it to be able to do all the things that you want to do. I mean, you can make up to 5 to 6 figures even within like 90 days if you have the right strategy. So we are here to help you. I was not prepared for this at this moment. So I'm going to just say you can reach out to me, follow me on Facebook. I am Theresa Marie. Right? Or you can go to our website at acceleratusmedia.com, and you will find a number of resources there. We've got a toolkit that can actually help you kind of plan out what your content's going to be on your channel, kind of give you that foundational setup. We've got a checklist that can help you with your launch. We've got workshops where you actually can spend a whole day with us, and we'll help flesh out all of it. So many possibilities. So we'll see you over there.
Excellent. And we'll make sure we have all those links in the comments on all the different channels so you guys can easily click them and not have to just type them as you see them on the screen. Theresa, thank you so much for being here. It's been an absolute pleasure.
My pleasure as well. Thank you for having me.
We'll see you guys next week. By you guys, I mean you and Owen. The rest of you, we won't see you next week. However, we might be going live from Lima, Ohio, but we will be at Social Media Week Lima next week. So until then, until we get to hang out again, I wish you well. Hopefully we'll see you soon, and we'll all be able to get together and learn together how to live better.
Awesome.